Good morning, Service Alliance community. How you all doing today? What's up, buddy? We don't usually sit next to each other in this.
I know, man. It's been a while, dude.
It has been. It has been. Another native Chicagoan
Amen.
on the show.
Go Cubs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our Bears are 2-1. Not a promising 2-1, but they're 2-1.
You know, it's early. The Bears will do what the Bears do.
Yeah,
they'll fall apart at the end.
Exactly. 9-7.
Hey, we got a new stadium coming, so we can look forward to that in 5 to 7 years. Do you see that? I don't know if you follow the news because you're not in the area anymore, but the McCaskies have a succession plan, basically to keep the team in their crappy, terrible management hands for generations to come.
You're kidding me.
No.
So when the old lady dies, it's not over, huh?
It's not over. There's 4 more generations behind her to screw up the Bears.
Oh my God.
Good morning, George.
House would be rolling over in his grave right now.
He would be. Good morning, Saul. Yeah, I would say it's raining down there. Stay safe, brother. Stay safe. Called hibernation. Oh man, we can't. I don't know that we can be friends, Adam. I don't know. There might be a little too much tension between the Bears. No, I really don't care about football. So
is he a Packers fan?
Go Pack.
Oh God,
it must be.
Aaron Rodgers is the devil. I hate that guy.
I love Wisconsin, but I can't stand the Packers.
His own family doesn't even like him. You know that? He hasn't talked to his family in like years.
Well,
Yeah, you never know. This is a great topic. We're talking about failures, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Success through failures, right?
Morning, TK. Morning. Yes, it should be a good one. We have lots to say on this topic. The only one we're missing is Mr. Rob Jones. He would also have a lot to say on this topic.
Lots of experience right here.
It's true.
Lots of credit lines used, and
I don't have a choice. I'm only 30 miles from Green Bay. Well,
okay. I get it. You guys paint your houses with the Packers logo.
This is true. Rogers is indeed a weird guy.
I used to live in Wisconsin for a short while. They
Good
they
morning,
are
Jasper.
I will say this, Green Bay fans are the most loyal, like crazy. That and Kansas City Chiefs fans. Like our
Yeah.
Chiefs fans here, man, it's nuts. If you've ever been to Arrowhead, you can feel the concrete shaking below your feet during the game. It's nuts.
We had a kid in grade school that was like diehard Chiefs fan. I mean, just like it's crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. We Bears fans just kind of are used to failure.
Oh yeah. Chicago sports in general. I mean, you go all the way back to the Black Cat with the Cubs, and you know, what's his name that caught the foul ball? Oh my God, I almost forgot his name.
Oh yeah.
Steve Bartman.
The good, Bartman. The Bartman
Oh
ball.
man,
Goofy
that
looking
night, dude, when he caught that foul ball, I sat there with my TV off for an hour, hoping it was a dream that I would wake up from.
My daughter likes to say she's the good luck charm because she was born the year the Cubs won, and we're sitting there watching the World Series. As you know, she's a baby; she's in my arms asleep, but you know, she's wearing her little Cubs gear, and so she likes to say she was the Cubs good luck charm. My wife is a Sox fan, so you know.
My Cubs fandom started with my grandfather, and his last dying wish was to see him win it. And he actually died shortly after they won it. It actually made it so much easier to deal with his loss because he finally got to see a winner, dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was 90-some years old. He had a wonderful life. But it was so cool that he got to see that before he passed away. I mean, there's a whole generation of him that waited to see that.
Sorry about that. Yeah. My I don't remember the timing of it. I don't remember if my grandma actually got to see the Cubs win the World Series or not. I can't remember if she died right before that or right after that. She's the reason I was a Cubs fan. I grew up watching the Cubs when, you know, Sammy Sosa was 160 pounds soaking wet and could steal bases, not a 210-pound roid-induced batting machine.
Yeah. Well, did I ever tell you about the guy that I actually met on one of these groups? I think it was Appliance Pro Talk, and he said he was from Chicago. And I said, "Oh, are you a Cubs or Sox fan?" He goes, "Well, I like them both." I said, "You're not from Chicago. You can't be
I've
from
been to
Chicago
more
and
Sox
like them
games.
both."
I've been to more Sox games, but I am a Cubs fan.
Yeah.
It's because the Sox tickets are cheap. No one wants to get shot at.
Of course. Me and EJ and TK went to a game and almost got to see a perfect game by Carlos Rendon.
Yeah.
TK didn't even realize how special the perfect game would have been. Like, there's only been 14 ever.
Yeah. Talk about failure. There's class action. Well, it's about frickin' time because that was just a big old pile of BS.
Oh, really? On the Frigidaires?
Apparently. I mean, I'm actually shocked that it didn't happen sooner because, you know, they got to the point where they just said, you know what? We don't care. We're not supporting it anymore. Nothing we've done fixes it. So we're just done. So it's only a matter of time till, you know.
I kind of actually like we're just bullshitting here for the first 10 minutes for once, you know?
Oh, well, so Doug and I typically try and just kind of banter back and forth like this before we really dig into it. Well, I wouldn't say we got spoiled with the Jordan years.
We absolutely did. We absolutely did.
No, I mean, so
the GOAT, bro. I don't care what people say when they bring LeBron up. It's like, come on, man. Jordan was the definition of like winning at every level, every way you could be. And everybody wanted to be like Mike, dude. Those Gatorade commercials.
Well, and so, I mean, so much of it was not just him and his leadership, right? It was
Yeah.
also the team. They
The-
all drove themselves to be better, straight up to the coach. The coach didn't even tolerate
yeah.
crap, right? Like, um, you want to talk about learning from failures, right? Like, if they made a misstep, they were out there correcting that misstep so it didn't happen again. Like,
Yeah.
there's,
So,
we can call him the GOAT, but it came from a lot of work. Like,
oh
yeah, there
yeah.
was some natural talent, but there was a lot of learning from failure and pushing yourself to just literally be the best.
Well, you're talking about a guy that was actually he did not make his high school basketball team the first year he tried out, right?
Yeah.
And then he gets drafted in Chicago, and Chicago Bulls are a laughing stock of an organization. He actually talked about this candidly in an interview not too long ago about how they were doing cocaine in the bathroom before games, the amount of debauchery going on, and just absolute, drug use and alcohol use, like right before they're actually getting ready to go play a professional basketball game. To turn it from that point to an organization that has accomplished what may never happen again, which is two back-to-back three-peats. And let's be honest, if he wouldn't have retired, how can anybody say they wouldn't have won those 2 years on
Oh, for
top of
sure.
it? You know what I mean? And what gets undervalued is, like you said, the organization itself, the defense that they played. The teams that played them said, as great as Jordan was offensively, their defense as a team they would absolutely destroy you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't. So, and that starts with, and we're going to kind of dig into this in a little more in the topic of failure today. But what you tolerate, that's what permeates, right? So, cocaine and debauchery and all that ridiculousness that the team tolerated before Jordan,
Yeah.
like that's what came from that because it was allowed.
Yeah. The
And
the
Jordan
le- the
said,
level of that's what they set their bar at. That
right,
we're a joke of a team, and we're gonna allow our guys to do this because we don't care, right? I mean, they were horrible. If you look at the Bulls like franchise record before Michael Jordan was drafted, you'll laugh. I
right.
mean,
Well, and then you look, he basically says like I wasn't going to tolerate it.
yeah,
So I pushed myself and I said, here's my standard. You better get to it. I'm pushing
yeah,
myself further. I don't care, but this is the bottom
yep.
layer, you know. And guys did it. They just
Well,
they you can't help but get swept up when you have a
every
leader
every
like that.
every guy like that, you get, every player that played with him, you hear two things. He got the best out of me every day and pushed me, but
Hmm.
he also was a jerk, right? Well,
Oh, he's an absolute asshole. Like
psychotic
absolute.
psychotic competitor to the point where, like, I
Yeah.
love hearing the story about him when he was in college with his college roommate and they're playing Monopoly, and he gets in a fist fight because his college roommate beat him in Monopoly. We're talking about a guy that's getting ready to be drafted and play Monopoly for real, right? And have millions of dollars, and he's fist fighting his roommate, college roommate, over
Yep.
Monopoly. That is the definition of psychotic competitor.
I
And
was
that's what it,
listening. I was listening to a course the other day talking about Jordan. I mean, and this is how little like he tolerated failure in his life, um, and how much of a dick he was. So, um, every year there was like 100 writers or coaches or sport whatever. These guys would get together and Jordan hosted this, and there'd be a basketball camp. They brought in these coaches and stuff like that, and they would help these guys get a little bit better, and they'd all play. And then the last thing is like they play one on one with Jordan, and like there's a prize basically if you can beat Jordan. And he goes, 3 times it's happened. So none of y'all are doing it because I watched you this week.
Oh yeah.
And this guy goes, somehow he figured out how to actually score on Jordan. So it was the 4th time. And he said the rest of the weekend, Jordan was riding his butt clear up to, they had like this dinner and they're all dressed up and his wife is there. He goes, come on, let's go to the basketball court.
Okay.
He goes, no, Jordan, because Jordan wouldn't allow himself to have that failure. So he would literally push to not have that like he wanted that rematch.
Yeah.
Because he drove himself to that. So
you know, before we get into it, the only other guy that I've ever heard like Jordan is Kobe Bryant.
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard this story about Kobe Bryant. Jason Williams, who played for the Bulls, his rookie year, he comes into the league, right? And they're playing Chicago. And they go to a shoot around a couple hours before the game. And Kobe's still there. And Jason Williams, who's a rookie, is real high draft pick. He's there. He's working out before the game. We're talking 4 hours before the game. And he sees that Kobe is just going hard. Like he's going like it's a real game. He's like 2 hours later, he's like, this guy's gonna have nothing left for tonight. He's like, you know, what, this is crazy. So Jason Williams finally leaves the gym to go to the game. And that night, Kobe dropped 63 points on the Bulls. And Jason Williams asked Kobe after he retired, he said, why did you stay in that gym all that time that day when I came in as a rookie? And he goes, I didn't want you thinking you could outwork me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this is a rookie coming in the league, and he's an established 7-time All-Star. He didn't want this rookie thinking he can get an inch on him.
Uh-huh.
Like that's how those guys are built, bro. You have to be.
There's another story of him. This guy's like wanted to come and work out with him or whatever, and he's like, I'm gonna show up an hour early, just to show Kobe I got what it takes, right? And he wasn't even like a basketball player or whatever. He was just he was another athlete, but he was going to show up and work out with Kobe. Kobe's in a full sweat. The guy shows up an hour early and Kobe's already in a full sweat. He's already been working out. It's 4:00 in the morning when this dude shows up an hour early and Kobe's already an hour. And same thing. You're not going to outwork me. You're not going to outmaneuver me. And you know how I can make it look like a 3-point shot is the basics? Because I work it until it is the basics. Like that's he literally goes, I do the hard things until they become the basics.
Yeah.
I do the basics until they are natural.
Yeah.
That's how you grow through failure. So I'm going to pray us in. I'm going to bring the scriptures and we'll dig even deeper into learning from failure.
Sounds good.
Dear Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time to chat together. I thank you that Justin joined me today and we're able to share from the things that we've learned in our years. And Father, we pray that those out there that need to hear it would hear it. And we thank you for this day, Father. We pray that you would be with those heading out on the road, keep them safe and help them love their customers well. In Jesus' name, amen. So the scriptures I'm bringing today, doing a throwback for TK, a Proverbs 26:11. Like a dog that returns to its vomit, a fool does the same foolish thing again and again.
Man.
So not learning from mistakes.
Story of the first 25 years of my life.
Psalm 119:71. It was good for me to be afflicted so that I could learn your statutes. In other words, it's good for me to have to deal with suffering because it ingrained your statutes on me. Jeremiah 8:4. Jeremiah, say to the people, this is what the Lord says. When people fall down, don't they get up again? When they discover they're on the road, don't they turn back? Sometimes. Sometimes they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were just talking beforehand. It's not in the failure. It's in how you get up from the failure, right? And you
No
were
doubt.
sharing that you're down to 10 guys, and I'll let you share the rest of the story, but it kind of pertains to what we were talking about earlier about raising that bar and what you tolerate. So
Well,
take it away.
the funny part is this is probably the number one most important thing that I've learned in the last 5 years after 24 years of doing this. You know, you are going to learn so much from those trying times. And I'll just be candid. I brought somebody into my company that needed an intervention in their life, dramatic change in their life. Somebody that was dealing with a drug addiction, and I knew it going into it. And I did everything I could to help this guy. And I realized no matter what I did for him, he used those resources to fuel his drug addiction. And it was like it got to the point where I wasn't helping him anymore. I realized I had become an enabler.
Yep.
And that was a tough thing for me because I wanted this so bad for him. I wanted him to be healthy, and I wanted him to have some of the successes I've had in life. And we talked about it so many times about, I've gone through some of the same things he's gone through, much younger in my life, but still the same. And no matter what I did, he wrecked my truck. He lied to my wife. He took our money. I mean, there's no way that I could have turned that situation around. And it affected the culture of my company. It was like a cancer, honestly, to where, it affected not just him, but we ended up losing 2 guys because of him. And the thing is I realized, man, I really started to believe in my own ego. I think that, hey, you did all this in 5 years, and you got this company up to this size. Like, I can take a risk now. And the thing is I realized how fragile that balance is. Even though we have 10 technicians, you can lose it all in a matter of minutes, just by one bad decision. And not reaching out and talking to other people and getting their advice. Well, I'll say this. I got a lot of advice. I just didn't listen. Right? I mean, I had multiple people tell me, stop doing it. Stop doing it, And like you said, I think that was a great thing that you said was, what did you say on, how did you put that? That, oh my gosh. Oh, it's the most stressful environment to put him in. It's actually,
yeah.
it's
Because I've
actually
been there.
the worst environment to put him in because he's trying to get healthy and clean. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about that till we were talking about this morning. Like, holy crap, you want to put a drug addict in a probably gonna fail environment.
Yeah, I mean, you
Put him out in
literally
an
set them up
appliance
for
truck with
failure.
8 to 10 service calls every day,
Yeah.
dealing with Johnson County housewives. Like,
Or
yeah,
Chicago.
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you literally set them up for failure. We before I took over the company, we did that. We had a young man, and he was clean at that point, and we were training him to be a service tech. We were same thing. Like, we wanted it for him. We wanted him to have a better life. We wanted him to have a chance and kind of continue his success in the journey. And yeah, it's such a high stress job. I mean, we all know it. We all know what the stress of doing service work is, whether it's appliance repair, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, doesn't matter. It's high stress. Service work is high stress. And he didn't succeed.
Yeah.
And it was on us because we put him
Yeah.
in that situation. It is literally setting them up for failure. And as a leader, how do we learn from that, right? Like, how do we learn to read people? How do we learn to read those situations?
Yeah.
Some of it's just intuition, and some of it's knowing that you can't hire a drug addict and put them in a high stress job.
Right.
Now you
No
could
matter
probably
how.
you could probably hire the drug addict and make them a
Yeah.
parts runner, or make them, you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
could use them in a different way. Um, coming from a recovery background, I'm same as you. Like, I want to help people like that, but
Yeah.
there's
There's
a
better.
difference between helping and enabling. Exactly what you said.
Well, and
You
there's
know.
a better way to help somebody than giving them $70,000 a year so they can be a
Mm-hmm.
full-blown drug addict and be
Mm-hmm.
really good at it. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
I feel I carry a lot of guilt with me because of it, because I didn't know that I was actually doing damage. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I thought I was, I thought I was building trust with him. I thought he needed somebody that would stand in his corner that never had. And I thought I was building that trust with him by doing that. And that's not what he needed. That's what I needed when I was going through the tough time. That's not what he needed, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can take this approach in any part of your business, guys. I mean, that's the human side, right? But we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about it strategically. Here's one of the biggest things I've learned too in business. Don't go into debt to grow. Don't go
Mm-hmm.
buy a $60,000 truck because you're doing well, right? And create an $800 a month or $1,000 a month payment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, if you can't afford to buy it cash, don't buy it. And that's how
Yep.
I built my business so fast in 5 years. I have so many people that approach me like, how did you get to 10, 11 texts in under 5 years? First of all, you know, it's a testament to the people that are around me. Mike got to meet him this week at PSA, and I said, I may own the company, but these guys built it, you know. And that's the most important part. But you know, it's so important, guys. When you're starting your business, and I'll say this: if you're going to take risks, do it while you're a one man show, because if you screw it up when you have built it to where you have 10 techs, it gets a
Mm-hmm.
lot more expensive, right? So take
It's a lot
take
more
some,
expensive you when you have five.
yeah. So Zach and I have talked about this. Like, I had no policies, no procedures in place when I met the four of them, and I was doing well, but it was a mess, right? When you have that many people that you're writing checks to, and you have this much money going out, I mean, my overhead a month is 20,000 a month minimum every month. That's a big nut to carry on your shoulder every month. But you know, when you're at that point where it gets that expensive and every decision you make can impact you in the thousands of dollars area, it's a whole different ballgame. And that's why I say, like, all the failures that I learned before I built my company up and got as big as we did, those are those seem expensive. So I have people, we have guys that say, "Oh, when do I know when it's the right time to hire a tech?" Hire one tomorrow. You know why? Because you're not going to get it right the first time usually. Or, I mean, you need practice at it, right? It took me 23 people. We looked. 23 people have come and gone to be able to get to 10 service techs. So that means 33 in total I've hired in 4 years. That's a huge number. I mean, that is a huge number. It used to be three. You have to hire three to find one that's going to be with you in a year. It's more like seven now because the job market is completely different. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It means you got to work at it every day and figure out those hiring practices. Best advice I ever got: be great
Well, and
at firing and never do.
have to be
Yeah,
great at the firing.
yeah,
Like, and that's the thing that so many people struggle with. That was my biggest failure. There's people that I should have fired
yeah,
way before. Like, I held on to them way too long right?
Sure.
And so Sal said about the addict, you didn't fail him. He just wasn't ready to leave his addiction. And there is so much truth in that. But
Appreciate that, Saul. Good.
From my side, with the guy that we dealt with, ending up back in his addiction, right? Like, we didn't stop that soon enough. We let that go on too long. That was the failure. And learning from that failure was, hey, don't hire an addict again. Doesn't mean don't help an addict.
Yeah.
Just means in that particular situation, know that that's setting someone up for failure.
Yeah.
Right. They have to be 100% ready. So that was growing through that, learning through that, just like being ready to fire, right? How many guys have you had to fire?
It doesn't get easier either.
It doesn't,
So
but you have to get
I'm here
good
to tell
at
you,
it.
been doing this 24 years. The last guy I fired was just as hard as the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got better at it. I've gotten better at it about being direct. I don't try to sugarcoat it anymore.
I guarantee
say,
it doesn't take you as long either.
I'm really sorry this isn't working out. I wish you nothing but the best, but we're going to have to go in a different direction. I mean, it really, and explain why. Always give feedback to people.
So the first guy you fired, did it take years to fire, or did it take months?
Yeah, dude, it took a long time. Put it this way, it took it to the point where I found a crack pipe in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did everything he could have did to get fired, and I didn't, because I thought I have so much time and money invested. That's how I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, if I can just figure out how to coach this guy, I can get him around the corner. And the thing is he has realized that I viewed him as more valuable to me than he did to me. You know what I'm saying? So he could do anything he wanted. I
had four guys I should have fired the minute I took over the company.
Oh, April, dude, those first 2 years, April, God bless her, bro. She put up with so much shit while I tried to figure it out. I mean, she begged me, get rid of these guys. I'm like, you don't understand. No, she did understand.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm. That's pride, right? Like that pride, that ego. We were talking about that earlier. That ego, when we find success, it's really easy to put the blinders on and not humble ourselves, right, in those moments, and not hear the advice. I was and he'll be okay with it because we kind of talked about it yesterday, but I was talking to EJ and he's like, yeah, like, I learned this. I'm like, Justin and I have been telling you that for months.
Yeah.
We've been saying it.
Yeah. Well, and how many times has the shoe rotated on the foot between the five of us? I mean, if you don't mind if I be transparent, I mean, Zach and I, we've had our little battle, and the funny part is me and Zach are actually probably the most important reason the five of us got together, because of the connection we made about coming together for his business. And, everybody played a role, but I think if that weekend wouldn't have happened, we probably wouldn't have got here as fast as we did, and we may not have got here. Who knows, right? But we both had an issue with communication. I mean,
it's pride. I mean, it's 100% pride.
We are polar opposites in some ways, but in other ways, we're
way too alike in other ways.
Exactly, which is why we butted heads. And I didn't see, honestly, I've always respected you, but going through what we went through, and I feel like we've come out the other side, I have a lot more respect for you. We all have been through a lot in the last couple of years, and the fact that we're better than we were coming into it, considering what we've overcome, is pretty incredible.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, and that's growing through it, right? Like that's the entire point of this. If you can't grow through things, then you do fail.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the only time you fail. If you can't learn and you can't grow and you can't take that next step, that's the failure.
Yeah.
Right?
No doubt about it. No, that is the biggest failure. I mean,
everything else is just like it's a learning experience, right? Like it's a growth path. It's not a failure. If you continue to step forward, if you continue to make progress, then it's not a failure, right? Like you learned that you had to level up in your own business what you were willing to tolerate.
Well, and I'll say this. I mean, look, I've done this business 3 times in my life. First one crashed and burned miserably. Second one, I sold for well below what it was worth. And it's still alive and well today in Chicago.
I wouldn't say well, but it's alive.
Yeah, it's alive. Yeah, that's true. It's alive. It's probably about where I left it, truthfully.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah, no doubt. Third time, it's to the moon, I hope. I mean, I said to one of my guys the other day, we're dreaming big here, man. We get halfway to our goal. We're still the most successful people we know.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how the glass is always half full now. I used to be a half empty guy. You go through so many things that beat you down and callous you over. But life's too short, man. I respect the heck out of these young guys out here trying to get it done on their own. At 26, 25 years old, out here trying to build a business. Dude, I wasn't even thinking about building a business at that age. I was out trying to find the prettiest girl in the bar. You know what I mean? Like, so, I love helping guys like that. I just think it's so cool to see you go to PSA and you see a 26-year-old with a staff of 7. And you're like, what did you start doing at 21, bro?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So. Yeah, and those are the guys that are gonna make it. Like EJ and we had a question yesterday that was asked, and it's like you have to look internally. Yeah. Because not everyone is cut out to be a business owner. That's just the reality of it. I don't care what the world is saying. Oh, everyone can be a business owner. Everyone can have sure. Okay. But not everyone's cut out for it. You have to look internally. You have to know that you're willing to go through 3 failures, right? To find the successful, right? Like when you see some of the most successful people in the service industry, more than half of them have been to bankruptcy or complete and utter ruin before they got to that point.
Yeah. No doubt.
More than half. There's a few, that have a horseshoe up their butt that somehow pulled it off right out the gate.
Yeah.
But more than half.
Absolutely. Well, and here's the lesson, guys. And it's not, look, I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you this. I'll give you as much feedback as I possibly can. I mean, the best thing about failure is it teaches you what not to do. So you can find the path of what to do. I mean, the most important skill set in a person, in my opinion, of being an entrepreneur is the ability to pivot. Do not fall in love with your own processes and ways of doing things. Be able to change at any given time based on circumstances. And that's what it takes. It really does. I mean, the amount of times I've changed policies and the direction of my company, I would drive my wife nuts with it. I mean, literally. I mean, that's to find the right way or the better way, you got to try a lot of bad ways. Mark Cuban talks about this. I failed 100,000 times and only took one success to overcome them all.
Well,
And
Edison,
I'm a
we wouldn't
builder.
have the light. We wouldn't have the light bulb if he gave up after his first, 99 failures.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Like
Yeah, no doubt.
99 times to find the one that actually worked. And
No
so
doubt.
like it's okay, but you have to know that you're ready to go through that. You have to be ready to go through the emotional roller coaster that you're going to go on. If you don't think it's an emotional roller coaster, then you need to get out now. Just get out now. If you don't have the fortitude to take that roller coaster ride, walk away.
Yeah.
If you're ready to rock and roll, if you're ready to go through the highs and the lows and the crashes and the nights where you don't know what's going to happen, rock on.
Yeah.
We're going to support you in the best way that we can. Right?
Okay.
We're here in your corner, but if you ain't ready to take those rides, just get out now before you start adding people, before you start gambling with other people's lives.
Yeah.
Get out now.
And I'll say this, on the other side of it, if you're willing to, it's by far the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. Is watching it grow. And I'm talking obviously outside of family, right? I mean, my wife and kids.
Yeah.
There's nothing above that. But watching something grow and foster that and have love for it, unconditional love to the point where you're going out at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday or what, and that's what it takes, guys. It's all the small details. All of us are doing the same thing, but we have a wide variety of results.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the golden rule. All the little things matter. Waking up early, being prepared, always being professional with your customers, showing up on time, having parts on your truck. All these things combined is what makes you a great business. And the reason why older guys like me have been doing this 24 years is we realized all these little things matter. And the older I get, the more I apply that. And I'm able to teach it a lot easier because I've been through so much that I tell my guys that work for me, hey, I've been through that, bud. This is why you got to stock parts. This is why you got to be prepared. This is why, this job is all about preparation to get results that you want. It absolutely is. If you're going out there with blank invoices and just winging it every day, you're going to get the results you want, mm-hmm. which is you're going to get half-ass results. And because you prepared half-ass. If you go out there and you write down your goals, maybe once every month or once every quarter and say, this is where I want to be. I'm always mentally, bro, I'm always 5 steps ahead of where my business is at. I write down stuff all the time and make notes to myself and say, when I get to this point, this is what I'm going to do. And I'll change it all the time, right? And you hear that from other business owners that say, I'm already to the moon. Mentally, I'm already there. I just got to get my business there.
Well, you start there and you design your success backwards.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's really what it is. You have to see it, feel it, live it, right? It has to be just as real. You are at the moon. Okay, now how do I get there?
Yeah.
And then you build the processes, right?
Yeah.
On your way to the moon. That's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do it.
I think we all question ourselves in the grind of it, which is why the 5 of us getting together is so important. Is when you're in that grind, it's hard to see your way out of it. Sometimes the mastermind groups, guys, if you're not in one, please, if anything, just give it a try with an open mind. Because at the very least, you're going to be able to network with somebody that's like-minded like you and have a resource to vent, to call up when you're having a tough day. I mean, there's a reason why we believe in it so much is because I look at every one of us and, personal growth, business aside, personal growth, God, I'm a better human being because I've known you guys. It's not just about business, I'm a better husband.
And that's the right, like that's the goal, is to just continually be better every day. You only get that if you're willing to humble yourself and learn from these things that happen, right? Like you shared it right at the beginning. I wasn't humble enough to hear it.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what stage you're in, right? It'll humble you.
I still feel
It's
like I
going
could
to
lose it
take your
every
knees
day.
out from under you. Yep.
I still feel like every day I could wake up and lose it all. And that
Yep.
I don't know how to think any different.
Right.
I don't
Right.
want to. I don't want to.
It keeps you on your toes.
Absolutely.
It keeps you on your toes. Yeah, we're hoping, we were talking in the group about maybe getting one for service managers together, especially like larger service managers. I do have a podcast that's going to be dropping here eventually.
That's a cool idea.
Once we get it lined up. One of the VPs of Service Titan is a friend of mine. Actually, two of them are a friend of mine. I met them in 2019. And so Tyson Freeman's going to come on. And he was the service manager for Tom Howard, which is Lee's Heating and Air out in California.
Really?
And they grew to 150 techs. Tyson is a service manager or a VP for Service Titan now, but he was the service manager leading up through that growth. He started when they had like 5 guys.
No kidding.
They grew to this just monstrous company.
God, I'd love to
so
take this company.
We'll kind of talk through that. We're gonna have he's gonna talk about Service Titan, but then he's also gonna talk about that. And Doug is actually the one who brought up, like, what's it like to go from 16 guys to 30 guys? What's it like to go from 30 guys to 45 guys, right? And so we're hoping we can get a service manager group together, because it is a unique position to be in, right? You're not the owner of the company. You're not a technician. You're in Superman. You're in that middle, right? And then the other piece, which is the one that I'm really passionate about, is leading a mastermind on leadership and growing through leadership. What does that look like to level your skills, level your mindset to that next level? So hopefully they're just ideas being toyed out. They've been written down. Now we're processing backwards through, what does this look like? Who's going to lead? How are we going to handle this? Who's going to be part of this? So stay tuned for those. And if you missed it, tomorrow we have the book club starting with leadership, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Check out the link, email myself or Facebook message myself or Doug, and we'll get you dropped on the group and part of that book club. It's going to take us all the way to ASTI in 2023. So
I'm looking forward to doing these live training events. I've been waiting for this since we got together as partners, and I'm really gonna enjoy getting to meet a lot of these people in the group, flying around the country, coming to your hometown, and learning about you and your business. So yeah, that's one thing that's coming too, is we're gonna work on doing live events and webinars and give you every resource we can, business classes, some cool things coming.
Good to hear, Gasper. I will get you, I'll get you dropped in the group, bud. EJ and Mike and I were actually talking about some course ideas and some webinars. Mike and I have worked on the technology side of how to offer that. So there's some really cool things that are coming to our all access members very soon. We'll be announcing those. There's going to be a lot of stuff dropping first quarter, just because it does take, we've gotten to the point with the website, and now there's some other infrastructure that has to be put in now that we have the main meat and potatoes there for you. So it's exciting to see what's coming.
Yeah,
It'll be fun. So I gotta go measure a floor. I actually have 2 floor measures today, all by myself.
Dude, it was great hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
It's been a long time, man.
It was fun. I'm gonna go help my buddy who's been struggling with failure and help him find that path to success. That's really, for me, that's been a lot of fun, taking the principles that we've learned in the appliance side of things and applying them to a different service business. Dude, I'm telling you, it is so cool to see like that these things are universal. They really will work for any service company.
Absolutely.
As you begin to apply them appropriately at the right time. So it's fun. It's fun.
That's
I love
awesome.
seeing my brother finally find some success. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good day. What's tomorrow? Wednesday. So it's going to be Mike and TK tomorrow. So we will see you later. Peace out, guys.
See you guys out.